If you think 2020 can't get any worse, well, it just did. It's been recently revealed on the Hollow's Instagram page that the show has most likely been cancelled by Netflix. And I say most likely because Netflix has yet to release an official statement regarding the cancellation. But from the looks of this Instagram video and this comment left by the voice actor of Kai, the chances of this show coming back are very slim. I'm extremely devastated because I've grown to love the main characters over the course of the 2 seasons. And not to mention, the show finished on a freaking cliffhanger. That is not okay. Right now, fans of The Hollow are demanding for the show to be saved through the hashtag #SaveTheHollow campaign on Twitter. While I think campaigning for the show and pushing for Netflix to renew The Hollow is the best thing we can do right now as a fan community, I have a sinking feeling that Netflix won't do anything to save it. Hey guys, welcome to the Peter Stands Lizzie YouTube channel. I'm your host, Peter, and today I'm going to be discussing about Season 2 of Netflix's The Hollow. I've actually only started to watch The Hollow in April of this year, even though the first season premiered way back in 2018. So I'm a little late to the party, but it's alright because I have binge watched the entire first season in like 2 days, and I absolutely loved it. I think what got me, and I'm sure a bunch of other people hooked on The Hollow, was definitely the mysterious premise that was introduced to the audience within the first few minutes of the series. It took me on a fun and exciting journey with our main characters, Adam, Kai, and Mira, because we didn't know what to expect, and neither do those 3 characters, since their memories were suppressed from the very beginning. Season 2 then premiered about 2 years later in May of 2020, and I had more self-control that time around since I wanted to review each episode of the season on my Tumblr account. So by completing all of Season 2 within a spacious 10-day time frame, I was able to really process what I've just watched, and then properly critique this season, which led me to making this very video that you're watching. So without further ado, here is my full review of The Hollow Season 2. As this video is part 1 of my review, I will touch on the key highlights, events, and thoughts I wanted to bring up after watching the season. And in the next video, which is part 2, I will be covering my analysis of each of the main characters and some of the supporting ones, as well as giving my predictions for a possible Season 3. Season 1 ended on somewhat of a cliffhanger as we saw the real-life Vanessa having a glitch in her eye. Therefore, I knew that this season's events would be the result of that specific thing happening last season. The biggest twist in Season 2 is definitely the revelation made by Weirdy in Episode 8 that our main characters, including Adam, Kai, Mira, Vanessa, Reeve, and Skeet, are no longer players of The Hollow anymore, but they are now digital copies of their real selves that are meant to populate a new simulated life game called Hollow Life. Just to refresh your memories on how Hollow Life came to be, it's basically a game that was developed by Hollow Game Company in order to create and simulate a world that is similar to the real world. It contains digital clones of past real-life players of The Hollow, and the company has tapped into all the data in their brains to create this sort of realistic world for the clone avatars to live in. Therefore, our main 6 characters, as well as the previous players of The Hollow like Gretchen Aguilar, whom we were introduced to in Episode 1, each have a digital copy living in Hollow Life, while their real physical selves coexist in the real world. That sure is a lot of information to take in. Early on in the season, our main characters entered through a portal out of Hollow Life and into the current game of The Hollow, where the actual game teams are a part of. We all know that Digital Skeet supposedly died in Episode 4, but I think it's safe to say his real-life body is unharmed. Although this means it's quite unlikely for his fellow digital friends to reunite with him again. But I do have a theory on how they can bring him back to life, which I will elaborate on in my part 2 discussion video. Hollow Life was designed to ensure the digital characters, or copies, do not have their memories or emotions with them, shielding them from any emotional attachments and possibly even emotional scars they will develop as the game goes on. But due to Vanessa having cheated last season by wearing those special contact lenses that caused the glitch to occur, all 6 of our main characters have maintained their memories with them, and they believe that they're real and they don't feel like they belong inside a video game, but that's just not the case for them. After thinking about it further, the entire premise is actually really interesting, but kind of sad. Like, I don't think anyone would ever want to be in their situation. But as the second half of Season 2 suggests, the only way to make their digital world a somewhat livable place that's as close to the real world as possible is to transfer Hololive into an offline server so that all of them would live there, essentially blocking whomever is controlling the game. But knowing how the show goes, any chance of normalcy for these characters is extremely slim. I actually wonder what is the intention behind the company's decision to create Hololive. Being that it is a corporation, it would make sense if their purpose is to sell the game and to make a profit, since the Holo seems to be a very established game show and maybe there's a demand for people wanting to play the Holo or its variations at home, acting as a sort of godlike entity, essentially controlling every aspect of the game. But with Hololive, who is actually the person controlling the game? I believe they said it's the so-called beta gamers, but who are these people? I felt that Weirdy could have done more to help our characters/heroes. He has been teleporting in and out of the game, while updating our main characters on the status of his efforts to transfer the game into an offline server. So I'm guessing he's at the real Holo Game Studio? If that's the case, why does he feel like he has to be stealthy around the creators or developers in order to make the transfer? Why can't he just tell the team over at Holo Game Company that there are a bunch of clones who actually have the same emotions and memories as their real-life counterparts, and it's important that they make the transfer to prevent them from ceasing to exist? Why can't he convince them to take Nisha, Iris, and Tyler offline so that the game wouldn't finish? Couldn't he just do it himself? Like, aren't they all on stage together? Like, what is Weirdy so afraid of? Getting fired? I mean, maybe there are millions and millions of dollars that are at stake, and moving the game out of the Holo Game server would prevent them from being able to sell the game? Come to think of it, he could have just contacted the authorities to handle the situation, since he said himself that their scheme is evil.
Hey, next time you host a live TV show while simultaneously trying to sabotage a multinational corporation's evil scheme, let me know.
I have so many questions, y'all, as you can tell. But eventually, Weirdy was able to make the transfer, but we still don't know what impact the other team entering their own portal to finish the game had on our main characters and the digital world that they're in within the offline server. So I'm hoping that a Season 3 will be able to explain all of this. With the revelation of our main characters being trapped in the digital world, comes the philosophical question of whether or not it's worth living a life as a digital copy of your real selves. Now imagine that you are a clone, and somewhere out there, your original body is living a perfectly normal life, while you, the clone, is trapped in a world that is extremely different and digitized, and various things are out there to get you. Would you be willing to live through such an alternate life? Or would you choose the arguably easier option, which is ceasing to exist and not being able to go through any more hardships, but you know that your real selves will be a-okay? Well, characters like Adam and Reef were certainly in agreement with the latter idea at first, but after saving a village full of storybook characters from a magic fire, they realized that their life is worth living after all. It's no easy question to ask oneself, but I think once the characters realize that being transferred into an offline server will allow them to live in a world that is 100% similar to the real world, only it's digital, with no monsters or creatures out to get them, then it seems more attractive for them to want to fight hard to stay alive as an avatar. But to reiterate what I've said before, as we have seen at the end of Season 2, the world that they're currently in right now is far, far away still from the world that they worked so hard to want to live in. After watching Season 1, but before starting out Season 2, I never expected our core trio, Adam, Mira, and Kai, to already have some sort of prior relationships with Reeve, Vanessa, and Skeet. I initially thought they were just two groups of players who just so happened to compete against each other in the Hollow. But immediately from watching this scene in episode 1 of Season 2, I was told otherwise. It's actually a smart idea for the writers to make Reeve, Vanessa, and Skeet have quite a history, whether it being good or bad with their main trio, more so with Reeve and Skeet. It actually made me feel more invested in these characters. Reeve, of course, as we found out, had been on the team with Adam and Mira prior to them partnering up with Kai. And with Skeet, he and Mira had known each other almost forever since childhood. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Vanessa has had any strong prior relationships with any of the main trio. I think she was just known as someone who brought Reeve in to her own team. It's interesting now because after Season 2, it seems like we have our own little pairs going on, with Adam having the most screen time with Reeve, then Kai with Vanessa, and finally Mira with Skeet. Although I wish Skeet didn't have to die rather early on in the season. Since that oh so famous kiss scene between Adam and Mira in Season 1, Episode 7, so many of us had suspected that Adam was gay. And what do you know? We were absolutely right. But isn't it funny how despite being on the memory inhibitor system during that whole time, Adam deep down still knows he's gay. In this scene, Adam came out to Kai and to the audience as gay in episode 2 of season 2, and it was glorious because it was done in such a casual manner. Like, there wasn't a big deal made out of it. I also think he probably came out to Mira way prior to them participating in the Hollow together. I was pretty confident that they would go there after seeing the pride flag colors on the bulletin board on Adam's bedroom wall during the trailer of season 2. And not to mention, in episode 1 of season 2, we also found out that Mira has 2 gay dads. What do you know? Another thing that's so special about this scene in particular is that Adam was allowed to say the word gay.
Dude, I'm gay.
So many cartoons like to confirm having LGBTQ+ rep by having a character kiss or hold hands with another character of the same sex, or to confess their love verbally to one another. But with the Hollow, I like that we got that verbal confirmation because it's quite rare for a cartoon show to have their characters to say that they're gay. Period. Well, that's the end of my part 1 discussion video of season 2 of The Hollow. Stay tuned next week for my part 2 video where I will be discussing about my detailed character analysis of the main characters and a few supporting characters, and finally, my predictions for season 3. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave your comments down below, and I will see you all next time. Bye!